in a way perhaps that it hasn't before because of the key role nurses are playing in the COVID-19 pandemic response. In Grenada, nurses as a professional group of frontline workers have led the COVID-19 response. They are the ones leading the surveillance activities, testing persons for COVID-19 at our ports of entry, quarantine sites, and caring for those who are hospitalized, oftentimes putting their lives and that of their families at risk. As of the 31st of January 2021, data revealed that the cumulative number of reported COVID-19 deaths among nurses in 59 countries was 2,710. Those nurses would have made the ultimate sacrifice. In many countries, nurses are the largest group of health workers with COVID-19 infection. Nurses, you must be commended for your unfailing commitment to act in fighting this and all other health crises, and to protect our patients and communities. I want to assure you that the contributions you are making in preventing the spread of COVID-19 in Grenada does not go unnoticed. We are fortunate in that we have not lost any of our frontline workers to COVID-19. I ask that you take a moment to reflect and honor the memory of nurses and other healthcare workers who have tragically died during the COVID-19 pandemic. Pause to also remember our own nurses who have gone before us, the trailblazers who are still with us and who have built a solid foundation on which we now stand. Amidst the COVID-19 pandemic, other services at the various institutions and in the community continues. In some cases, adjustments had to be made to how the services were delivered, but nonetheless, services continued. Our healthcare professionals, nurses, doctors, and other members of the health team were able to provide quality care to quite a number of patients. The bottom line is, from providing direct care to affected hospitalized patients to leading full-scale public health operations, nurses are front and center, working around the clock to protect the health and well-being of patients and the public at large. Administratively, the Ministry of Health and Social Security continues to work assiduously with other stakeholders to address outstanding administrative matters related to nursing. We are continuing to work on the regularization of positions together with the Department of Public Administration. The issues surrounding contracts are also being given attention. The ministry has recommenced the nursing assistant program, and the midwifery training program is expected to commence later this year in collaboration with T.A. Marijo Community College. The ministry also continues the essential task of succession planning. I know that the nursing department has been proactive in that aspect and has been exposing nurses with the potential and abilities to function in higher offices and who possess the right attitude and aptitude to leadership roles. I take this opportunity to commend the various nursing leaders on their proactive approach to mentorship and succession planning. In closing, I wish many continued blessing to all nurses. Thank you for your service to humanity. Your work transcends beyond patients because you also provide comfort to families of the sick. It is often said that nursing is a thankless job. However, your contribution towards the well-being of the nation can never be truly measured. Take this opportunity to encourage young persons, including young men, to see nursing as a viable and noble profession to pursue. You can be part of the solution you wish to see. Congratulations to all nurses, whether you are in active practice or retired. Happy International Nurses Day. Thank you.
The proceeding was an address to the nation by Minister for Health and Social Security, the Honorable Nicholas Steele, in observance of International Nurses Day, May 12, 2021.
You're listening to Hard Talk Grenada via www.hardtalkgrenada.com.
Good morning, Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. You're listening to Hard Talk Grenada. A very special good morning to those of you joining us on the various radio stations, 97.5 CitysoundFM, 89.5 CRFM, 91.9 and 91.5 RealFM Radio, 92.9 Sister Isle Radio broadcasting from Hillsborough, Carriacou, and of course, 94.9 We Noise Radio out there in Brooklyn, New York, for those of you tuning in from the diaspora. A very special good morning to those of you joining us on the various social media platforms, whether it is Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, wherever it is that you are joining us from. A very special good morning to you. Good morning to you, Mr. Bola, as well. And of course, before you say good morning, let me apologize to the people for our late start. Of course, it was due to circumstances beyond our control. We know that there are certain things that we don't have any control whatsoever over. This morning, one of those things occurred. So we apologize for the late start. Nonetheless, we are here and we are ready to go. So again, good morning, Mr. Bola.
Good morning to you, Ms. Duncan. Good morning to our listeners, wherever you are, by whatever means you're listening. It's always a pleasure, to be here to try to impart knowledge, to bring you facts, to bring you information, especially those that are most relevant for our everyday activities. And Ms. Duncan has explained, unforeseen circumstances has caused us to start the broadcast of this live session a little bit late, but I don't think that the people who had tuned in exactly at 10 had lost anything, because we had queued up and was playing the Minister of Health address in relation to yesterday's
International Nurses Day.
There, and I commend the minister. And again, we say thank you to our nurses. We did make mention of that yesterday on our program. That we are eternally grateful to those who have taken up that task, those who have made nursing their career. And coming towards the end of his address, the minister did utter the words that it is oftentimes said that nursing is a thankless job, So too are many other jobs or professions that people get into. However, though, we still want to be, or should be, I should say, thankful to all the people who have made that sacrifice. And true to form, as Minister also said in his address there, they were front and center, the nurses, in the fight, and continue to be against COVID, and trying to help protect our nation, and trying to get people to understand what they should be doing. They are the ones giving the vaccination. They are the ones who do the test. They are the ones that lead the contact tracing. They are the ones that visit villages, visit homes where they are suspects. So they continue to go beyond the call of duty, as we've said yesterday. They continue to put their lives and that of their family at risk to ensure that we remain safe and we remain healthy. I think one of the best things that we can do as a people to really show our appreciation and our thankfulness to the nurses for being so selfless in the execution and the performance of their duties. That one of the ways in which we can really show our appreciation is by going and get vaccinated.
Absolutely.
By showing them that as a people we are prepared to protect ourselves as best as we can with what is available at this time. We go out there, we get vaccinated, we get both doses, so that if there's a further breakout, if there's a second wave, as we are seeing in many countries now, more of us will be able to deal with that attack from the virus, because our bodies, our immune system are being boosted because we have gone to vaccinate. Because in my mind, it makes no good sense saying that we love our nurses, we appreciate them, we wish them the best, without trying to help them.
Yeah.
And getting vaccinated is one of the things that will help our nurses to deal more effectively, more efficiently with the whole issue of the contraction of COVID-19. Because there would be less patients, so to speak, that they would have to give intensive care and attention to. Because as we know it from our understanding from the makers and the scientists and the medical experts, the vaccine, none of the vaccine made can prevent anyone from catching the virus.
Correct.
But what it does is limit or decrease the severity of our illness if we should catch the virus after being vaccinated, And it also eliminates in the 90% range the possibility of death, based on all the science that backs it. So again, yesterday we did say happy International Nursing Day to all our nurses, active or retired. And today we want to reiterate that, and we want to agree with the minister that you are doing a tremendous job, that no amount of thanks or accolades heaped up against you or for you could be too much. You deserve every bit of it. You deserve all of the attention, all of the thanks, all of the affection that you get from our people as a result of the task that all of you as nurses have been performing, and especially so over the last year and months.
Absolutely. Mr. Bola, I want us to open the lines very early this morning to engage persons in the conversation that we're about to have as it relates to vaccination and in the workplace. I think it's a conversation that we've shied away from for quite some time, because I believe that the population has varying opinions as to if workplaces should be making it mandatory for persons to get vaccinated, why they should not, what are the opinions of the public? And I think it's important to hear from people what they think on the subject of mandatory vaccination in the workplace. I'll definitely share my opinion, and hopefully you do the same. But time and time again, the Prime Minister has made it absolutely clear that as a government, they will not legislate anything that makes it mandatory for the population to be inoculated. But that is from a government point of view, or from a government perspective. Whether they can control what private individuals choose to do within their business is a different story. It takes on a different conversation. And I think it's a conversation that the Trade Unions Council, of course, along with the business community, need to sit and really discuss what are the advantages and disadvantages of our workers, our people not being inoculated, because I think it is a bigger conversation. I think we attach a lot of emotions to it, and we speak about the rights of our people and the rights of this and the rights of that. But then we also have to remember, and we continuously say this, that my rights stop, or your rights stop where my rights begin. So just as the employees have rights, the employers have the same amount of rights as well, because they are individuals governed by the same constitution that you are governed by. They have the same amount of rights that you are governed by, so we have to take that into consideration as well, Mr. Bola. I think when we look at private business and we look at private individual, we think that they're a body of people that are governed by different laws. Or when we look at employers, we think that they are a body of people that are governed by, they have different rights and different laws than everybody else, and our rights supersede, or the employees' rights supersedes that of the employers. there must be a balance. And I think today is the day we should start that conversation surrounding whether it should or should not be mandatory for an employer to mandate that their employees be vaccinated. Mr. Bola, what do you think?
Let me begin because to me, this is a topic, excuse me, or an issue, I believe, that has to get much deeper and further thought than what we are able to do. I am not convinced that you and I, or any ordinary member of the public, will be able to give full justice or do full justice to that discussion. However, I think it will be interesting to hear the viewpoints that the public has on that issue. And I say that from the standpoint that we are dealing now with a situation and an issue that we have never had to deal with before. COVID-19 was new. They call it the novel coronavirus, meaning that it was new. We have not had a pandemic in the last 100 years. The last pandemic prior to this one was in 1920. So it's virtually 100 years since.
Right.
So this generation of people that are surviving now, I don't believe that there are much people around that might have witnessed the 1920 Spanish flu, which was then. So the way we act, the way we behave, what we legislate now would all be brand new in terms of how we deal with COVID. So was there ever a time when the entire world had to be vaccinated? I am not even sure, and the research will have to be done to determine whether or not in 2019, when you had the Spanish flu, whether or not there were mass vaccination internationally. Maybe there were some countries who was harder hit than others where they went on a vaccination campaign. But I don't know if it was international. Now, COVID-19 has affected the entire world. Every single nation that we can think about that exists has been affected in one way or the other. And so whatever recipe, whatever solution that is being found to at least work or limit its negative effects, we all have to implement it in one way or the other. Now, the workplace, which is what you're talking about. So I just wanted to make it quite clear, it is not an easy thing that we're dealing with. It's a first time for this generation. The decision makers, the lawmakers, the people who man countries, the governments of various countries, I don't know that any single one of them that exists that are in office today have experienced the 1920 pandemic. So we read about it, we hear about it, and this experience is our greatest teacher. As to whether or not private businesses, private citizens, private establishments have that right to mandate and demand that their workforce, their employees, be vaccinated to re-enter the workforce. I tend to believe that they have that right. However, though, I think it will come down to a court judgment. And I say that from the standpoint that while as a private citizen, as a private establishment, we have rights and we can put certain regulations that will govern our individual establishment. We have to be careful that we do not tread upon what is commonly referred to as a person's constitutional rights.
Right.
What does the Constitution say? And I know the Constitution will not speak specific to what do you do with COVID-19, but there may be parts and parcels of the Constitution that may speak to certain inalienable rights that an individual have that we have to be wary about. Now, I am not in any way saying that a private establishment, a private business entity is breaking any constitutional law, because I don't know that. I am just putting out there for conversation whether or not that has been looked at, and whether the legal luminaries have examined and what the Grenada Constitution says will be different to what the U.S. Constitution says, and of course what the Trinidadian Constitution said, or what the Constitution in India or Brazil or Japan or Germany. All of us do not carry the same kind of constitution. I believe there are many things that will be similar in terms of the rights and privileges that individuals of these countries have. I think there are a lot of similarities, but I do not believe that the document is exactly the same. So it will vary based on where you are. But I think there need to be a deep thought, more than thought, but examination of, and a determination whether or not it is in the right. Because a person's private establishment, they can set up certain terms and conditions as to how and what they want to work. Because when you apply for a job in a hotel, for example, the terms and conditions of how you can be employed and what is acceptable and not acceptable will not be the same as when you apply for a job as a custom officer or as a secretary in a legal representative office, or as a clerk at the Ministry of Finance. The terms and conditions under which you work, they vary. The terms and conditions that the Grenada Bottling Company has and the conditions under which you can get employment will vary and different from the terms and conditions that another company has. So what I am getting at the end of the day is that I agree with you that I don't think the government has much power in determining the conditions that any establishment set up for employment or for its employees. However, the government will have to ensure that whatever is done or said does not infringe on the very basic human rights that an individual have. Now, is it my basic human right not to take the vaccine if I so desire? Maybe yes, it is. But is it also a basic right of an employer to say that in the furtherance of protection of myself, my business, and other employees, if you are not vaccinated, I will not want to accept you as an employee or as a customer in my business. Yes? So we are agreeing that an individual have the right, which I want to subscribe to and believe, that it is the right of every individual to make that determination. I will or I will not. But in so doing, does it give us the right and privilege to cause another person or people in general to become infected or to be aggrieved by your decision not to accept the vaccine? Yes? And I think that is where the legal luminaries have to come in and help us to unravel that part, right? But there's also one last thing I want to say, or ask really, and put out there for discussion, because I think we also need to determine if individual A decides, well, I really don't want the vaccine, and the owner, the proprietor, the person who is in charge of the business, we say B decides, well, you cannot continue to be in my establishment because you're not taking the vaccine. What if you are talking about an employee who has been in the employment of that establishment for the last 20 years. Would there be a compensation package? What does it mean at the end of the day? So that is why from the onset I said the conversation surrounding that issue is much bigger, much larger, and will definitely have to get infused into it some legal might.
All right. We have a call on the line. Let's take this caller. Hello, good morning.
Oh, yes, good morning to you.
Hi, good morning.
Morning, sir.
Good morning to the doc.
How are you?
Not too bad. I don't know why they didn't make you the diplomat before you left the administration.
Well, maybe I'm not a diplomat, so that's why they did not pick me.
Because you are so diplomatic. You know? I wonder how much people gather, how much of what you say there.
I do have
Very
a clue.
hard to untangle, you know. Diplomatic indeed. I'll tell you something. And going back to the Prime Minister, and let me say before I say this, could we equate this with AIDS in the workplace? There was a topic, there was a talk when AIDS first surfaced, the job or not the job, hire or not to hire, or the discrimination in the workplace by employers against employees, and who cannot fire you if you have the AIDS, or who must hire you even though you have the AIDS, you know, and so that was settled, and so, well, you cannot deny a person the right of employment, you cannot fire them if they have this. So could we equate that with this virus? I don't know, but I'll leave it there.
I think you should leave it there because there are, and I get the argument you're making, but there may be some differences in terms of how one contract the AIDS as compared to the COVID. You know?
Yeah, one is more critical, but it's extremely dangerous too.
Yeah.
So, but I going back to the Prime Minister's opening statement when he says the government is not going to mandate. And I think he's keeping in line with international business policies. Other countries, not the communist countries, because the communist countries do as they wish.
Yes.
But the democratic countries, you get England, you get the United States, you get Canada, and Germany, they're saying the same thing. And those are the friends of the government or the transaction partners. So no, we are not going to cope and say we are going to mandate and we find ourselves in difficulties. Because you see, the laws, as you quietly put it there, the laws of the land take precedent. And whilst the Prime Minister said, well, the business people have to protect themselves, he must understand also that the business people have to operate within the law, under the law.
Yes.
Not above the law.
Yes.
So if you're going to fire somebody because they failed to take the vaccine, or you're setting up yourself in a big battle with the Constitution, and I don't think you will win. If you decide to not to hire somebody if you have a job that they qualify for, and they fail to take the vaccine, you might be also setting up yourself because they are citizens of them. Do they qualify to get a job by your business? The business has to operate under the state. So it is very, very technical, and I'm saying the business people should not go that way, because I believe they do that is one, shutting down your commerce, because commerce is designed for people and not for the businessman himself. So if you decide to do that, you might be shutting down your business. People might decide not to walk into your store. You might just start losing your employee, and you lose the business. So I think they have to handle this thing very, very delicately and operate based on the premise of the Constitution and take lead from that. And don't do things not because the Prime Minister might say, well, he gave you the right, not the right, but okay, he will support a business person if he decides to protect his business. Don't go with that, because the Constitution is bigger than the Prime Minister.
Certainly.
Because if you try to do those things, I believe many, many businesses, and the lawyers are really standing by, don't go into this area.
But does the Constitution, have we gotten a piece on the Constitution? Has anyone really done to say whether or not it is within the right of the business people so to do or not to do?
No, well no, I don't think so. But
that's what I'm saying. I think we need to get that.
The right of a citizen and the right of the business. Remember, you set up the business to interact with the public.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So therefore, you have to remind yourself of that. And therefore, the Constitution. Before you take a decision, you will have to find out from the Constitution.
Definitely
whether
so.
you will have the right or you have the right to do it.
Yeah,
So
but we don't know if there are some business people who have done that already. That's why we put it out there for discussion. So if there are people who know,
right.
And you giving your views here, I'm not against what you're saying. I'm just asking 2 questions along the way.
Yeah, so you see, I think the business people have to be very careful, very, very careful, and tread cautiously, because at this point in time, we cannot afford to lose customer or to lose our business, because everybody's going to suffer.
Yes.
So I would suggest to the business people, look, follow the Constitution and get some legal advice based on the Constitution before you attempt to do this, because everybody might be suffering.
I think that is a very wise bit of advice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very, very much.
Right. I also want to put out there, Mr. Bola, that while we speak about individuals or businesses being absolutely careful when it comes to not infringing on the rights of the employee, I think it's also very important for the employees to understand what the rights of their employers are. I think oftentimes when we have these kinds of situations, that we tend to look only on the side where the person seemingly has more power. In this case, we think the employer has more power, or has the power to say to their employees, you have to get vaccinated or not, and not work. And we don't look along the lines of the employer and what their rights are as well. And as an employee, understanding what the rights of my employer is, and I think that's a very interesting conversation that we need to start having. As well as there's an employers federation, is that correct? Right. There's an employers federation, and maybe it's time that these bodies start coming together and sitting together and discussing these things, so that the bodies themselves firstly understand what the rights of each other are, and then they start now rolling out to their the people they represent.
Yeah, there's also the Chamber of Commerce.
Chamber of Commerce as well.
And this, we have another caller?
Yeah, we do have a caller on the line.
Good morning.
Hi,
morning.
Good morning, Mr. Polo. Good morning, Mr. Uncle.
Yes.
Yeah, now I listen to the last caller. I make a lot of sense. But then, as citizens, each and every one of us has a right.
Yes, we do.
Okay, the employee has a right, the employer has a right. And the employee is a citizen of the country.
Right.
So both parties have to abide with the Constitution. Okay? So then, what should the employer do if some of the workers employee decide not to take the vaccine? What could he do? Right? Yes, I do believe principle to go through the right procedure, right, and follow. But both parties have to follow the Constitution, right? That is said on. So I do believe that if you let's take an example like your home, right? You vaccinate your family, and in your home, people want to come into your home. You don't show them they take a vaccine, but you know definitely your family took it. You don't just let people come into your home just so WeiVybz without knowing whether they are your children are safe or you are safe when they come in. Right? So then I do believe, like if some people took the vaccine in that business place and some people take it, they could be affecting those who don't take it. So I do believe, and for the safety and the protection of the company, the employee should take the vaccine. That's my opinion. They should take it. And when they take it, they're only protecting the business, but they're also protecting the family home. Protecting the family, right? So I do, to my opinion and my belief, they should take it. And both parties have a right. So I believe the legal laws come in and we'll sit until both parties explain what is what. Because both parties, the employer has a right, the employee has a right. And I do believe the employer has to protect his business. Because the same employees who pay the employees who pay the employee for the job they are doing. And then it's not easy like you decide, okay, like you put your self-interest in front of your family. Going home and you just refuse to take a vaccine and go home and sit down, where you have a family to maintain. and go and sit down with the waiting, you don't get anything. Any salary when you want to reach. So I do believe, yes, it's your right, whether or not to take it. But then you have to look at the bigger picture. And I do believe bigger picture, people have to really sit down and hear from the medical doctors. What are the consequences? What the vaccine, if they took the vaccine, what are they doing? And because why many people hesitant because of the false misinformation, false information that they get outside there. Some of them hesitant not to take it. So I want to advise, encourage the Grenadian people, go and take the vaccine. Because, as Mr. Steele was saying, that the vaccine, they may be expired on the 26th, I think 27th or 27th upwards after you will not be good for them to take the vaccine again to people. So I call upon Grenadians to go out, take a vaccine, to protect yourself, protect your family, and protect your loved one. If you really love and care people, you always give information to protect them. And whenever you take again, Ms. Duncan and Mr. Buller, many of the people that encourage people not to take a vaccine, ask themselves, because I don't really care about people. They take the vaccine. And not only one shot, they take both shots. But they're still discouraging people not to take it.
Yeah.
So I call upon Grenadians. Think for yourself. Use your wisdom. Don't let people think for you. God created each and one of us with a head. He put our brain in our head. He gives us a mind to think for ourselves. Don't let people think for us. And do what is right for you and your family. Yeah. They might protect your family and we're trying to leave you outside it to find yourself in difficulty. But you have to think for yourself. Think about your family. Think about the village where you live in. And make sure that you want to protect your family, protect the community where you live in. So, Mr. Buller, Ms. Duncan, you all have a wonderful day. God bless you.
Well, thank you so much for your comments. The lines are open, 440-7377 if you're calling locally. If you're calling from outside of Grenada internationally, is 329-347-329-3101. We accept all calls, WhatsApp. You can just send us a message on one of the media platforms if you're listening. We're just discussing the rights of employers and employees to determine whether or not they take the vaccine. As I've said before, it is not straight line walking. It's not. It's not a, And I do believe that the associations, and so as you've mentioned, Employers Federation, Chamber of Commerce, these are discussions that the Trade Union Council that they should have, and bring the information out. Have legal-minded people involved, and so because I'm not saying yes or no, but I believe everybody have rights.
Absolutely. We have a call coming in on our overseas line. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, Sister Duncan. Good morning, Brother Bola.
Good morning to you, sir.
How are you doing? How are you guys doing?
We are okay for today.
I've been listening this morning to you guys with the, like our Sister Duncan say, who's supposed to take the vaccine and who shouldn't take the vaccine. Mm-hmm. But this morning I listened on it was on the CNN. Right now, the doctor declared in America that once you're fully vaccinated, you could get out there and you don't have to wear a mask.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They said it a few days ago, but they didn't really explain it properly. This morning, they explained it now. Once you're fully vaccinated, you've been proven that you don't catch the virus. That's what they say for now.
For now, okay.
So, So what we have to do in Grenada, if you have your store and you vaccine, and the workers, they don't want a vaccine, they can infect you. They only infect themselves. Mm-hmm. The only problem with that your business might go down.
Yes.
You might lose revenue because why? People inside there didn't take the vaccine.
And they have to go on sick
leave.
And
then what happens? Mm-hmm. Your best worker start to go down with the vaccine, with the problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the only thing, because you can't do nothing else.
Yeah.
You can advise them, because it is your business, and you don't want your business to go down. So you advise them, and tell them, look, I don't want to get rid of you. Use my good workers, best workers, however you want to use it. But just in case one of you guys come down with the vaccine, you know what's going to happen to my business.
Mm-hmm.
And they will have to look into that and look at it and say, well, I find that makes sense. Because we can't tell nobody to take vaccine. We can't, it's a waste of time. They should look at it, look at the hygiene, look at the history, and watch what's going on. And make up their mind if they should take the vaccine or not. Right. Because in Sabola, if you, your wife, and your children is vaccinated, no one could give you the vaccine. Once you're fully vaccinated, no one could bring anything to you guys.
Well, there are different schools that thoughts on that. Some schools say that you can still get it, but it would not be as difficult and dangerous as if you didn't get the vaccine. So the verdict is still out. They're still doing a lot of testing, and we have to wait and see and hear what the final result will be.
It doesn't come from the head doctor in the States that you could go outside. Once you're fully vaccinated,
once you've taken both shots, yes.
You should be okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
But you always have a 1% that something could happen.
Yes.
So that's the confidence they give us now. So we all should be fully vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
So even though you come around me and you don't vaccine, I have no fear.
Right. But it's better if all of us are. So if I am and you are, we do together, then we no fear at all.
No fear. This morning they announced that. No fear.
Okay.
Because maybe they test it and they realize that. No fear.
Okay.
So the best way is to get a vaccine and vaccine your kids too.
Yes.
The kids that are 12 and older, vaccine you and your kids. So anyway you could take your children out, you could sit down with anybody and talk, me and my kids are safe.
All right. Makes sense.
Yes, me and my kids are safe. Because that's what people don't fully understand. But once you fully take your vaccine, you should be okay.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
So right now, this morning, that's what come out this morning. So I guess you guys could look into it and check it out.
Of course we will. We always like to check out news so we can help share the information.
So I just try to share that information.
Good.
Because the employer cannot force you to take the vaccine.
No, they can't force you.
The employer only trying to safeguard himself and trying to safeguard you and his business. Mm-hmm. So he has three things to safeguard.
Yes.
Himself, you, and his business.
And the business, yes.
Because if you got the vaccine, you got the virus, he might find it hard to tell you to come back to work.
Yes.
Because he spoke to you before.
Yes.
And you made that decision. So in case now union will be fighting and say, no, you have to hire back the person and you have to. But I spoke to that person before. I didn't take away the rights from them, but I spoke to them. And I told them it could happen. And then when it happened now, you coming to me now and begging me to take that person on my job? No, it doesn't work that way. So we all have to weigh, the possibility.
Good.
All right.
And that's about it.
Thank you so much. You have a great day. You have a great day. You have a great day yourself.
Okay, brother Diploma.
Yeah.
All right.
In what he was explaining, something came to mind, and I wanted to mention it yesterday, but we had so much talking about yesterday that studies have proven that individuals who have contracted COVID-19, it was said that they would develop antibodies as a result of contracting the virus. So studies now have proven that those antibodies only last 8 months.
Okay.
So after 8 months, your chances of being reinfected is just the same as when you did not, when you first got the virus. So we have to be careful and remember that as well. Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning, Miss Duncan, Brother Bola.
Morning to you. How are you?
I'm doing pretty great,
Thank
okay.
You. Good.
Hoping to see you on your side later in the neck of your woods. I want to talk to you about a pertinent matter.
Okay.
I have a funeral in your community this evening.
This evening? Yeah. That's which place? I don't seem
That's right down by you. Okay. Now, listen, I think this is something that I'm really happy that you all brought up this morning.
for discussion. But as you said, and even the other caller before that one, it is good if the law-minded people could come on and break the ice, on that. But right before me, I have my Constitution, Chapter 1.
Yes.
Right, and that's Section 16. Just like your rights to vote, rights to assembly, your rights to, to be a friend of any person that you want. No one should be held against their rights or their will. Okay. Now, I think what could happen here, looking at this law, is only if the Parliament, right, would pass a mandatory law, in that people bound to take the vaccine in order to continue being employed with a particular firm or so. Okay, now this is something that's a pandemic that no one has been, have prepared for.
True.
Nobody. But in terms of safeguarding persons' lives and even persons on the job and people coming into your firm, I think it is very, very ticklish here where that is concerned. As to whether you would close down your firm, your business, reapply, put out a re-employment application, and only employ those who've been vaccinated, fully vaccinated. Then you would have to stand the consequences of paying off or so many court hearing for the other persons that you have caused to vacate the job. So yes, there's I think we really have to have the law-minded persons to come on and talk to this matter.
Right. Now, caller, in the same Constitution that you're looking at, Protection of Fundamental Rights and Freedom, if you look at Article 3, it reads, no person shall be deprived of his personal liberty, save as may be authorized by law in any of the following cases. And it goes on. I'm not going to read A to F because that speaks about court proceedings. But if you read G, it goes on to say for the purpose of preventing the spread of an infectious or contagious disease.
Yeah.
So we have to be very careful when we speak about rights and freedoms. I think a lot of persons speak about rights and freedoms in a broad context of knowing that they have rights and freedoms, but not understanding what those rights and freedoms are extended to and in what context they must use it. I think they just use it broad on a broad basis to say you can't get me to do this because I have rights and freedoms.
I have a constitutional right,
but not understanding what those rights are. The Constitution is there for persons to read and interpret, and if you are unable to interpret, you can speak to.
That's where I have the difference with you, because our interpretation
might be different.
Because these legal jargons, the way they write them, the way they frame them, and ordinary minds like ours, we read and we get one kind of understanding. But then when the legal minds explain, because they always tell you it's not only the letter of the law, it is the spirit of the law. What do I know about spirit of law? I don't know anything about spirit of law. I read law.
But you know, sometimes, Brother Bola, sometimes what happens that at times that even the law-minded person, those law dragons, they even take something that is lawful out of context and apply it somewhere else.
They sometimes do.
And that is a fundamental problem.
Yeah, but that is why also those legal luminaries, those law lords, go back to what they call precedents, court precedents. So you may be doing a case now, and there's a certain interpretation of the law, and there's disagreement about who is correct with the interpretation. So they sometimes go back many years, and cite similar cases like what they're dealing with now, and then they look at what judgment was handed down, and they take that as precedence. So that will. So, I mean, those of us who don't follow closely court proceedings and so may not understand how these judgments sometimes are arrived at. A lot of times, it is not just based on the principle of what piece of legislation that you have in place.
But then Mr.
And that's why sometimes they appeal.
You have appeal and all these kind of things.
Yes.
So that's what we...
Listen, I don't want to hold up the line.
No, don't. But before you run away, that funeral you're talking about, I think I've passed since Sunday and see where they were digging a grave, and I keep wondering, well, who is going to be buried there? Because I have not heard of a death in my neck of the woods.
Wow. Oh, you didn't hear that?
No, but I see the grave being dug.
Right, so, well, that's in your neighborhood, right in the front.
The person who died is from the neighborhood, or they were leaving somewhere else and they're coming back to be buried?
Well, as far as I understood, they were living in the neighborhood for a while, and they've been taken away by, so they return into that place.
To that place. So maybe that's why I have not heard. Because I find it was really strange, and pardon me, but normally I would inquire, and it just slipped me, because Sunday was when I saw a grave being dug, and I said,
Right.
I don't hear anything, and I needed to inquire, but it just slipped my mind. Anyway, Pastor, you take good care, and thank you for your comments.
And you know what? I want the nation to know that I took my last Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine on Monday.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Continue to encourage your flock so to do. Your followers and all those you have influence over.
They're doing that. A few well enough, they are doing it.
All right, great, man, great.
God bless you all. Take care.
Take good care. Care. Very well.
Mr. Bola, I wanted to bring up very quickly something, and I'm not a legal luminary. I just took a course in law and governance because I don't know what that had to do with my degree, but they made us do it. But there's something in law called legal realism. Mm-hmm. It's where you look at law from a you look at it from in a real sense, in the real world.
Well, it has to be applicable to real life.
Applicable to real life.
If a piece of law, a piece of legislation is put in place, and it cannot be applied from a human standpoint, then it makes no sense.
It has to be tested against the real world.
The
basically.
real world, yes.
So there are a lot of little aspects of law that we as individuals don't understand.
We don't.
And that is why it's important sometimes when we don't understand things, we just shouldn't speak on them. When you hear people saying, oh, well, it's illegal for them to make it mandatory for you to be vaccinated, on what grounds are you saying this? And that's why I often say to people, if you cannot add context to a statement, maybe you should not be making the statement at all. So you're saying that they cannot make it mandatory, but in what context are you speaking? Are you speaking from a legal standpoint? Are you speaking from an emotional standpoint? Can you add value to what you are saying? Can you add more body to what it is that you are saying? Or are you just saying it based on an emotional feeling that you feel that they should not do it that way? But can your feeling really stand up in court? Can it make a difference in the actual conversation surrounding if it should be mandatory or not? And I think we have to start moving away from these, from understanding these social media posts as facts and start looking at it for what it is. It's just someone's emotional opinion on what something should be. Yeah. We have a call on the line. Good morning, Mr. Mills.
How you know it's me?
Hey, every time you call, we go into that,
Yeah, but I want to know, you have a caller ID, I think?
No.
So you know that you're instinct?
I tell you, every time you call, I get a tingling feeling.
So well, how you know? You must know. Tell me, man.
I'm telling you, every time you pick up the phone to call, I get a tingling. It's my spidey sense.
Oh, so...
Yes.
We have a little something going then?
We have a little something going, but don't say it loud for Mr. Bola to hear.
Mr. Bola.
Good morning to you, my dear friend.
Me and Miss Duncan have something going.
Well, I'm glad for both you and Miss Duncan. I wish it would have happy beginnings, lovely middle, and a precious ending if it ever has to end.
Okay.
Why you didn't say no ending at all?
Well, I can't say that. I don't know if it wouldn't have ended. I say
it's overcast.
I say it's overcast?
Really.
Okay. You mean up in Carriacou or the relationship between you and Miss Duncan? What is overcast?
Really, me and Miss Duncan, we can have some kind of relationship there and you there.
And me there? Mr. Mills, don't change the conversation, please. We're talking about vaccine. Don't start to talk about other things. You talking about injection. No, injection and vaccine is two different things.
Why are you doing that to me?
No, I'm coming to Carriacou. I will. Don't you worry. Why you think I wouldn't come?
Yes, that is what I think.
No, I don't think so, brother. Don't think so.
Mr. Mills,
Yes.
did you get vaccinated? Did someone speak to you?
Nobody.
That's interesting.
The guy promised that they were going to do what they have to do to get to Mr. Mills. We need to reactivate that communication.
Yeah, no, and I spoke to someone recently concerning
Who is the person that you have to check for that?
No, we spoke to people at the ministry, letting them know what your conditions were and that you were willing to get vaccinated. So they should send a team to your home.
That would be very nice.
Yeah, because, well, we don't have no control over it because neither Ms. Duncan or I works with the government. But we know people within the service that we thought, and they gave an indication. So I don't know if they forgot or if they sent a message to Carriacou and it was not acted upon. We can't see.
Okay.
But we want to promise you that we will re-engage the individual because we know the importance of being vaccinated and you're willing, but you would like them to give you a home visit.
I wish you could do that.
Yeah, we will. We promise.
Yeah, because you know my situation, eh?
We understand your situation very well, sir.
Well, how do I still wait? Is that right?
You are what you have to because
good things come to those who wait.
Yeah, but they say sometimes not those who wait too late.
Too long.
Yeah. You see, if we had the power, if I had the power to just take it and come and give you, Roy.
I'd get long time.
Hey, but I'm glad to give you a zoo. I
know.
I'd give you a zoo. But you know, today we're talking about the rights and privileges of employers and employees. You know, there are some employers who say, look, to work in my establishment, you need to be vaccinated because.
But before I go, I would like to say good morning to Mistress Stafford right there in Bel Air.
Yeah.
How are you doing? That's the mother of our Calypso.
Yeah, but let me ask you something, and I want to ask you a private thing on air.
A private thing on air.
Why you ask me if private on air?
Well, it's private between me and you who want to listen fast.
Okay.
But Mrs. Stafford is your girlfriend. She's the only person you to send greetings to.
No, that's my mother.
Oh, your mother. All right. I just understand.
My mother died, but I'm my second mother.
Yeah. She's your social mother, not your biological. All right. Well, you need to tell her morning every time.
Yeah,
and good evening
I know
to something.
she's listening to you right now,
Yes.
Mr. Bola.
Yes. Mrs. Stafford, blessed day to you. And your son, Mr. Mills, he wishes you the best for today and for many days to come. And I hope that you took your vaccine already, Mrs. Stafford. If not, you should really try to get it. It's important.
All right. Well, Mr. Mills?
Well, you all have a nice day.
Yes, you too. And
We
we'll
hope
speak
you
to
the
you.
best.
But I'll reach out to the people again.
Anytime.
Yeah, I'll reach out to the people again and see what it is that's the matter. Because remember, if they open a vial, they have to have 10 persons to vaccinate as well. So that could be one of the restrictions that they have. But I'll try to find out for you because I know it's something that you're eager to do. And it's something that we would love to get done for you.
All right, Miss Duncan.
All right.
All right, my bro. You take care. Enjoy the day. Enjoy the rest of it. All right. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Miss Duncan, you were talking about the realism. But it is also important when we get a chance, after dealing with callers, to go back to the Constitution.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hello, good morning. Hi, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
Yeah, my name is Duncan. My name is Mr. Bola.
Hi, how are you doing, my brother?
Yeah, not too bad.
Great.
You know, in respect to the vaccine and the vaccine hesitancy, well, I don't know how much I could say, or because I've been listening to, different sides of the divide, and people continue. There are a lot of people out there that are continuing to confuse other people, and I must say that the media, to some extent, is no exception. I was listening this morning to a program on GBN, to the point. I didn't hear the whole program. When I tuned in, the the program was already in progress. But the host, she had Kellen Bob, Grenadian, based in, I think, Washington.
In New York, someplace.
I think he has now accomplished PhD in mass media or communications. And they talk many different things. With respect to the, hello?
Yes,
we're there. We're listening you. We're hearing you.
In respect to the vaccine hesitancy.
Right. And misinformation.
And they give a number of reasons that could be responsible for that. But the thing that disturbs me most, because he spoke about it also, and is when we let the politics, the partisan politics, get involved.
Yeah.
And we seem to disregard or ignore everything else. I mean, I find that a bit troubling. I find that a bit troubling, Imagine, so if, I don't know who else than the Ministry or local Ministry of Health. Okay, well, people could tune in international authentic sites to get the information. But locally, I don't know who more authorized or who should be more credible than our than our Ministry of Health,
right?
Than our doctors and our scientists, to speak on the issue. I don't know. Or even the Minister of Health, or even the Prime Minister. I don't know why is it that we continue to mistrust every and anything that politicians say. And we talk, and the excuses we make is that based on the messenger. So does the messenger really change the message? So if something is a fact and you don't believe in me, you don't trust me, and somebody who you believe, trust, tell you the same thing, does it make a difference really? To me, I don't see the messenger as making a difference. The messenger does not alter what is a fact. A fact will continue to remain a fact.
Correct.
And that's what it is. But we continue to make excuses while people should not be vaccinated. And, so we're trying to encourage or discourage people from taking the vaccine. And then we speak about, right, well, I heard you all mention about it, and you all are going to the Constitution. I also have a copy of the Constitution, but I'm not a legal mind.
Neither of us. We're just trying to interpret what we can.
Yeah, the interpretation. And then, sometimes this thing could be interpreted differently. And that is why sometimes many times you have appeal.
Yes.
People appealing matters because one interpretation might be different to another interpretation. Or maybe a group of lawyers might believe that the magistrate or the judge did not interpret properly
yes.
and apply, whatever. But I'm saying all this to say, why should we be embarking on such, on such a course? Why should we be making excuses and saying it's because of who is sending out the message? Or you're saying there isn't sufficient, and maybe there is more that the government and the Ministry of Health could do. Maybe there is more. I'm not saying no. But in terms of trying to try discouraging and talking about lack of credibility and trust and the other, I find it difficult. I find it very difficult understanding this kind of behavior. Well, I have already had my 2 doses. I would have said that before.
Yeah, well, congrats.
And I have arranged for my uncle who cannot really go out to also have his. Well, they had promised it was going to be Tuesday, but it didn't happen. So when they called me, they didn't see anybody come. When I called back the Ministry of Health, they told me what happened. They ran out. So it would be 2 days. So I hope it would happen today.
Okay.
So that is my encouragement. So my loved ones who would listen to me, I would speak to them and encourage them to be vaccinated, because I think the benefits way overwhelm the negative side effects.
Yes.
Yeah, because I must say that I had absolutely no side effects.
Neither did I.
Upon taking the second dose, none at all, and so on. So while the information is out there, and as I say, this thing, medicine and research and so on, is like a work in progress. So as new things are being discovered, then they would make it available to the public, right? But as far as we are concerned, up to this point, the vaccine is safe to take, right?
And it is the best chance we have so far.
Yeah, because you see, what not only that, sometimes the people who are arguing against it, the anti-vaxxers, they don't know much, All they spread is the negative. All they do is they take the negative and they're running with it. And one of them is that the rapid pace in which the vaccine was developed and so on, created. But not understanding that the coronavirus, the COVID-19, which was a different strain, a different variant, was new. It's a new strain, a new variant. But the virus itself is not new.
No.
So I've heard the experts saying they have had over 20-something years
of course
experience in that particular field. So that is why the vaccine didn't take that very long, and so on. So I don't know how much, because you and Miss Duncan, you all are doing an excellent job, a very, very good job in terms of the way you all express and and dissect issues and so on. Unlike some other hosts, what they do, they encourage the old talk. They encourage the misinformation and disinformation. That's what they do. I mean, that's what they do. I listen to them all the time. That's what they do. And then we talk about individual rights, personal rights, right? So workers' rights, employees' rights, fine. So the employers have no rights.
Well, they do,
They have no rights to protect their business.
They do.
Let's be real here. We were talking about practical application of the law.
Yes.
Something cannot be cast in stone.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to be real here. So if we're talking about reopening, we want a quick reopening and so on, but yet we are hesitant. We are hesitating. We don't want to take the vaccine, and yet we are encouraging others not to. Then what will happen?
Yeah.
I just don't understand. So I am saying my appeal is really to put aside the partisan politics, right? And the polarization. The dichotomy. Let's put that aside and just think about the public good. Just think of, and for all of us good. For all of us good. I don't believe that they are going to create something that would, of course, I don't think there is maybe a single vaccine that may not have side effects. Yes, some people may die, but but when you compare...
As a matter of fact, not just the vaccine, almost every bit of medication made does have some kind of side effect one way or the other.
Yeah, one way or the other.
Yep.
Because somebody argued, including a pastor, you want to know what will happen to the blood bank after people would have taken the vaccine. So what would happen what happened to the blood bank after people have taken different types of vaccines?
Well, I guess all the blood in there will dry up because they will take no more blood from anybody because they took a vaccine.
Well, I don't. Really, sometimes the argument is, you just cannot
So
stand.
my question oftentimes is, when you find these people who generally are the same people who always find fault with everything done because they have political ambition
they referend everything.
You're right. So I oftentimes ask, what is the real reason for doing what they're doing? Is it because they love people so much and they want to protect them? Or is it because they hope to achieve some other goal that they're not being absolutely clear with us and say this is what I want to achieve?
How do they contribute?
Yes.
Scheme of things. How do they contribute? Sometimes I ask them, but how do you contribute to others' well-being? You talk only negative. How does that contribute to others' well-being? Come on. You saying that you're interested in people, you want to, and that is the kind of negative thing you're going to be saying to people, spreading propaganda. That's all you do. Nothing else to really help people, to uplift people. Come on. Let's do better than that.
Let
us do better than that as a people, and respect to adhering to the protocols and so on. I still see a lot of people carefree, careless. They don't care. They don't care a thing. It's neither here nor there to them. And that kind of behavior we also have to deal with. When it's convenient for some of us, we call on the police to do certain things.
Yes.
And when it's not convenient, the police is the worst. And all of that. So we involve people conveniently when we want to involve them. We discard them when we want to discard them. We have to change that kind of behavior. That kind of mindset, that kind of attitude is not good for progress. It's not good for development. It's not going to help us. It's going to put us in a better position, and so on. And as I say, a lot of information is available, but it's what people delight in. It's what people have an interest in. So if they have an interest in the whole talk over the what would help them, what would uplift them, it's a matter for them. The choice is left to us. What we must understand is not only we would have rights.
Yes.
Others have rights as
Everyone has rights.
And our rights would end where we begin to trample on
someone
another
else's
person's
right. Absolutely.
So, Ms. Duncan, Ms. Dabola, continue the good work that you all are doing. Continue to share information. Continue to try to help and uplift us. And keep us informed.
We will.
Thank you. We try our best.
Yes.
Thank you for your contribution.
Let me get to some of the comments on the live video and some of those on the WhatsApp. Someone on the live stream is saying that... Ooh, so many. Okay. Or in my work, in my workplace, every one of us is fully vaccinated with both shots, and we are all doing well. Well, kudos to that business, whichever business it is, and of course to the employees as well in that business. Another individual is saying, or it can be a genius move because people who are vaccinated feel safe, and safe in there where they're carrying out their business. All right. Another individual is saying, I hope our people are not sneaking in their family and friends that are in other places that are having a hard time controlling the virus. I agree with a lot of them take it and don't want other people to know. Someone else is saying, close the business, pay the employees, rename the company, and hire unvaccinated people.
Well.
Oh, goodness. Someone else is saying, and if they were in power, they would not even buy the vaccines. They are propaganda party. Don't forget that. There are some important messages here. Someone took the time to write these messages, so I'm definitely going to take the time to read them. This individual on WhatsApp is saying, good morning. Do you believe that the time they give for vaccination should become a discussion? Most people work from 8 to 4. Vaccination is from 9 to 2, a time when most persons are at work. Maybe 10 to 5 might be more practical, just thinking. He's also saying, good morning. You believe our problem in Grenada is the authority did too well in containing the virus. It is very difficult to get our people to sanitize, wear masks, and social distance. We keep saying there is no COVID in Grenada. This is why our vaccination rate is so low. I believe the time for vaccination should be adjusted, maybe from 10 to 5 o'clock. Another individual is saying the alarming abuse of alcohol and toxic politics 24/7 in Grenada are the main culprit and driving force controlling some states of mind regarding COVID-19 and the various experimental vaccines to make a personal health decision. Gone are the days when one has to buy fish for information. There was that day, Mr. Bola?
I maybe was not around during that time, or if I was around, I was not aware.
Okay.
That you had to
something
very
important came up in two of these comments, and that has to do with persons illegally entering the country. I believe it was post-cabinet where the Superintendent Cohen made mention of that they have incidences of persons who have already entered, not entering it. We're not speaking about something, a continuous tense. We're talking about something that has already happened, past tense. Persons have entered the country illegally and had to be deported. Mr. Bola, that's very troubling because it's very, very troubling to think about. Because these persons could very well come into our country with COVID.
But, I mean, without saying that people have coming, I think the police is not the first time they're
it's not.
But we have consistently said that our borders are very porous. Our seashores, there are so many little caves, little nooks, little crannies where a small vessel can pull in, a fishing boat type kind of vessel can come in any place, and that it is unfair for us to want to believe that the lawmen should be able to man all of these sites and protect it 24/7.
Right.
They should do more, I would accept, but I don't know that they are capable, that there is sufficient manpower, there is the ability to. So the next best thing for us is for us to all get vaccinated so that in the event that something like that happens, we are much better protected. And that's all that we're trying. Well, not all, but that is part of what we're trying to say when we encourage people and we say, look, we have been protected thus far at our control sites where our ports of entry, our medical people, our police officers, they are on guard. very vigilant. They do the testing. They make sure that nobody gets out of those legal ports of entry without first being tested or being quarantined. But what about those that they cannot man, those that they do not see, those that where you have loopholes, where people can bust the net and come in? How do we protect ourselves from these people? And the best way to do so is to get vaccinated. And people continue to make all kind of excuses, bring up all kind of rationales. Up to last night, someone was saying, I saw a post where someone was saying, oh, we in Grenada want a vaccine that we can trust. Now tell me which vaccine you know that you can trust. I believe you can trust all of them. They all have the pros and cons. Every single bit of medication have side effects. So is that an excuse again that you want a vaccine that you can trust? Which one is the one that you trust? The one that I trust, would it be the same one that you trust? Would it be so I mean, whatever the authorities do, people will just find reason and ways to make an excuse against it.
I just want to bring up some very alarming information coming out of Trinidad and Tobago yesterday. Yesterday, they recorded their highest number of infections since the pandemic started, 615 reported positive cases. But even more alarming than that, yesterday alone, they had 11 deaths. 11 people died in Trinidad and Tobago.
Related to COVID-related deaths.
And of course, the American government would have sent to them 2 external hospitals or mobile hospitals, not mobile now.
Field
hospitals, right, that they erected yesterday and have already started being filled because they are seeing more and more individuals requiring hospital care. Now, I don't think we understand the severity of, and I will continue to say that, the severity of what COVID can do. We have a bodybuilder recently from Trinidad and Tobago that died. We have a nutritionist, a fitness instructor. These people are thought to be in the prime of their health, exercise every day, eat the right things, and COVID just knocked them down. Do we know if they had any underlying conditions? No. Maybe that could have contributed to that. Maybe they didn't even know they had underlying conditions and COVID knocked them down. We just don't know. And is it something that we really want to take that kind of a risk with? We are talking about, the government cannot mandate that we get vaccinated. But also we are still asking that the same government do every single thing in their power, go above, beyond, and across the call of duty to ensure that we are protected. When the government is saying that in order for you to be protected from COVID-19, you have to get vaccinated. And we are saying, no, we want to accept everything else, but we don't want that. Do something else. And that is really unfair. You can't really dictate, and it's really dictating to the government what you will accept from them in the fight against COVID-19. Now, it would be sad, really, that the same individuals that are so vocal on social media against getting vaccinated would say to the government when they get sick, the hospital is no good, and the reason my mother died or my father died or my brother died is because the healthcare system in Grenada is not robust enough to deal with it. The healthcare system nowhere in the world is robust enough to deal with COVID-19. Places like the US saw their healthcare system collapse. Places like Germany, places like India see their healthcare system collapsing under COVID-19 in a matter of days. We're not speaking about weeks and months. We're speaking about days. In a matter of days, their healthcare systems collapsed under COVID-19. We know that our healthcare system in Grenada, it's not the best. So that in itself should give us the power to want to do all that we can in order to keep ourselves safe. Now, apart from not wanting to get vaccinated, we have people not wanting to wear masks. We have people not wanting to follow the protocols, not wanting to stay within the time allotted for curfew. We have people complaining about every single thing because they in themselves can find a personal, emotional reason as to why they should object to this. But yet, we have people not wanting to get vaccinated and thinking that because government has done a wonderful job in protecting us so far, that they must continue along those lines and that will keep us safe forever.
Well, government is continuing along the lines of trying to protect and keep safe our people. But part of what we need to do as a people to help the government to keep us safe is to get vaccinated.
Yeah.
That's one of the conditionalities.
And I must say, let me just pause you for a moment, Mr. Bola. I must say, a few days ago, we made a comment and we started talking along the lines of everyone getting involved in the process of speaking about vaccinations and encouraging persons to get vaccinated. Even one of our listeners did make the comment that some of them getting vaccinated in secret and still telling you not to get vaccinated, or still not advocating hard enough for you to get vaccinated. And we did make the comment that it's not a political thing. It's never been a political thing. It's been stated many times that it hasn't been a political thing. But everyone should be involved in making the clarion call for people to get vaccinated. And I recently saw yesterday that an opposition party, the National Democratic Congress, did put out a little infomercial encouraging persons to get healthy, do what they need to do, and then get vaccinated. And I must say that I commend them on that. You know, sometimes, and that's probably something they do accustomed to do, because they don't do it. They don't commend you when you do something good. They just know how to bash when, you know, they find something goes wrong. But I must commend them in finally joining the fight and lending their voices to the call of vaccination. Now we have how many more days? 5 more days for persons to get inoculated with their first shot before the vaccines expire. They're going to expire at the end of June. So it means that by the 17th, which is in 5 days, persons who have not yet been inoculated with their first shot
must get it
by
in
then,
order for them to get the second shot.
In order for them to get their second shot.
Before
and that is being said
expired.
simply because we are uncertain as to where our next batch of vaccines will come from, or when we're even going to get our next batch of vaccine, considering what is happening in India.
Yes, because they were the biggest producer of the AstraZeneca.
Yes.
They have been shipping and have shipped out to 90 countries and have not been forecasting on the people. In fact, when they got attacked by a second strain or the second dose, less than 2% of the population was vaccinated. So they're concentrating heavily now on doing their own internal vaccination, and so they can meet external orders.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. How are you doing?
We're good. How are you?
Well, I'm not too good at all.
Why is that?
I'm a sick person. I suffer diabetes and a couple of other complications. I'm in a wheelchair, I lost a leg and whatnot, etc.
Oh my.
Just wanted to compliment the lady a while ago when she mentioned about the NDC and how they support it. But I would say something, I mean, every media that I turn on to every day for the last month or 2 months going, and there's only one thing they're singing about, and that gets me kind of confused because I lock up in a wheelchair here and have to listen to one thing over and over. If it's not 4%, it's vaccine. If it's not, I want to compliment you all for the program. But I'm kind of tired of hearing one thing over and over and over every day.
Right.
If all you could change that topic, cool, I will be happier with that. You know what I mean? And I'm sure there are a lot of other people in Grenada today who would much prefer to hear. Because I say, I'm in a wheelchair, and from hospital, the doctors show me certain things. They not show me certain things. There's a council for the disabled, and I wonder what's really happening. And even though there's a seed program, I still wonder what's happening. It's over a year now, I am in a wheelchair, and I was told that I would get some little help, some little assistance from these programs. And I didn't see anybody come to me as yet. I get kind of frustrated. I don't want to hear not much about this vaccine.
Have you taken the vaccine, friend? I want to ask you a question. Have you taken the vaccine?
So, listen, I don't want to discuss that.
Okay, all right. That's clear. That's fine. You don't want to discuss that. Let me ask you another question. If you
I understand that. Mr. Bola, I know you very well.
No. I'm okay with that. If you don't want to discuss vaccine, I am clear with that.
be going through this thing, man.
No. Listen, let me ask you another question.
This thing in this country, in this world, that make it scared, and I know you other people who get more scared too.
Can you give us your contacts and your address? So that we can you give us your contacts and your address so that we can reach out to the ministry?
I wouldn't do that.
No, you can call.
I live in Hawaii. It's all right, man. Don't worry. I ain't calling nobody, man. I ain't begging nothing. You know, I made sacrifice during the revolution. I was jailed. I was beaten. I was tortured. You know, like Winston Simon in Tivoli. I have a mark in my forehead from a gun butt, from a soldier. I don't want to call names. I mean, I listening to certain things. I getting real angry at all, you know, man. Oh, God, change the subject now, man.
Well, you see, listen, brother, we understand your situation, but we have a job to do to encourage Grenadians.
I'm doing a job, and I know you're getting paid to do the job, but what I'm saying is, man, we could change the subject, man, right every day, too.
Well, give us a little chance to explain ourselves now. You're thinking, you know, we having a conversation.
I had enough, man. I listen for you, man.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
All right, great.
One thing that I want to say to the caller, if he's listening,
you say tired, he ain't listening anymore.
Well, I mean, let's hope that he's still listening. I want to say to him, because I wanted to ask him if he had reached out to anyone regarding the process of the seed program. You see, sometimes we get caught up in the fact that they are supposed to call us, you know. Listen, we're dealing with human beings. Things slip by people. I'm not making excuses for anyone, but I'm just saying that if we want something bad enough, we have to fight hard enough for it. You know, it happens. It's life.
And it's not mandatory.
And it's not mandatory. But I do want to say to the caller that concerning your situation, that is what I'm interested in helping you with your situation.
About his address.
Right. So if he can call back after the program is over, that at about 10 to 12, so that we can get his information, his constituency, so that we are able to help. We help, you know, we help here. We get information and we try our best. Yes. So, you know, it's and I mean, we have to help all of the people in Grenada with information as well. So I understand he's a little tired of hearing about vaccines and all of that. But I mean, we got to do what we have to do. We don't want to tell you not to listen, but it's a choice.
Right. Yeah, he has a choice to turn on or turn off his radio.
We have a caller on the line.
We do, yeah.
Hi, good morning.
Morning, Mr. Bola and Miss Duncan.
Hi, good morning.
Yes, very good program.
Well, we thank you for that, my dear.
Yes, and I just want to add to what you all been saying, that, you know, we need to continue encouraging our people to take the vaccine. And also, Mr. Bola, Miss Duncan, there is a flu that is going around. And, you know, I urge people to wear a mask, wash their hands, you know, sanitize and so on, because, you know, little droplets drop and so on, and then you touch your eyes, your nose, and you're going to infect others. Especially my concern is the school children and so on. So I urge all parents and everyone, let us be vigilant, and you know, once we're doing what we're supposed to do, we're going to be better.
Absolutely.
So I encourage everyone to do as said, let's go get a vaccine, because we all want to save life and livelihood. Thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you for your comments. Please do enjoy your day today. Ms. Duncan, we running. We have just...
We do have another call coming in.
Yeah, about 5 minutes before.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you guys doing?
Very well, thank you. Good morning to you.
All right. So I just had an experience. So I called to ask 2 questions.
Yes.
Right.
Based on the experience I just had. We talk about vaccine and everything. What is the purpose of taking the vaccine? One, that's my first question.
Oh, you want us to answer it now?
Yes.
Okay. So the science has proven that taking the vaccine does reduce your chances of being hospitalized or becoming severely ill as a result of catching COVID-19 and subsequently dying from that illness.
Okay. And also, by taking the vaccine, you become asymptomatic, whereby you cannot spread the virus also, correct?
No.
Not necessarily.
Not
you don't
absolutely
become
true.
asymptomatic. What it does, you may exhibit symptoms of catching COVID-19, but it will not be as severe as persons who are unvaccinated. So it limits your chances.
In terms of you passing the virus to someone else.
Well, that is still up for debate. There are a lot of schools of thought, some that says you will not be able to, and some that are saying that it is possible to. Some are also saying that the strain that is being passed from a vaccinated to an unvaccinated person is a weaker strain, right?
Okay.
However, if the weaker strain enters an unvaccinated body, then you know what's going to happen there. It begins to gain strength, right?
All right.
So I hope that answers your question sufficiently.
All right. So let me tell you of my situation now. I'm a fully vaccinated individual.
Right.
In my private transport, me alone in my transport, and I was just ticketed on Wall Street by a police officer for not wearing my mask.
In the private transport?
In my own private transport, me alone in my private transport.
Well, I think that's something that could be contested.
I complied. Because usually when you try to actually fight for your rights, there are some officers in Grenada that doesn't have something called deductive reasoning, and they have no common sense, and they just abuse their power. And I'm happy that I'm listening to you guys' program while that situation happens.
Right.
Okay.
So let me tell you.
And now that your programs are being aired everywhere, I am now calling on the commissioner of police to maybe send back majority, 98% of his staff to training school, not to deal with the law or not to deal with how to use a firearm or a truncheon, mace or handcuffs, but train them how to deal with people, because police officers are abusing their rights. I'm in my private transport, me alone. It ain't spreading nothing to nobody in my private transport, and I'm fully vaccinated. I showed him my card. When he asked for my name, I gave him my vaccination card, just so some common sense will prevail. But apparently, there are some police officers that don't have brain but have the thing that will let go in the toilet bowl as defecate for what inside their head to think. And I'm very upset.
We can hear that in your voice, but can you calm down a little bit and listen to us for a minute?
Let me tell you this, caller. You see, that is why we have the court of law, and the court of law is there so that you can plead your case, right? It doesn't mean, hold on,
I have experience in that.
Hold on. It doesn't mean that because you were charged or ticketed, not even charged, you were ticketed for not wearing your mask. It doesn't mean that when you go to the court of law to defend yourself, that you will be charged for an offense. You have to.
What's about an individual that may not be able to, or had the idea to fight as me and just want to pay their ticket? Justify that for me.
No, we can't justify that. That's a choice that the person could make. There is no justification for that, and we are not saying.
People like that, you know.
Yeah.
Like that, they get a ticket, they want to pay.
They go and pay, right?
But what is the justifiable cause for ticketing somebody in their own personal transport?
Right, and we are saying to you, some people, as you have said, using different words, don't use
discretion.
Their discretion, you know, to analyze. They take an order and they're not analytical in their mind. There are some people like that. We meet them up not only in the police, in different places. Now, the way in which to do it is to bring light to it, and I'm glad that you called the program and you're explaining what your experience with that officer was this morning. And we are going to make an appeal. We are going to use whatever connections we possibly can get and let those in authority know that they have to properly debrief. I think that's the word they use in the police. Debrief the officers when they're going out. It could mean that they were well debriefed. It could mean an officer that had a bad night, had a bad morning, and they just take out the...
Tell us of your bad morning or whatnot.
You should not. No, I'm agreeing with you.
I work in the hotel industry and careless of my circumstances when I reach on work.
You have to put on what you're trained to do.
Exactly.
And I'm agreeing with you. We just exploring.
Speaking of, the officer that I'm speaking of is not just a constable, it's a corporal, 2 stripes on his shoulder.
Well, very strange, because I sure have heard already that if you're traveling by yourself in your private vehicle, it's not mandatory that you wear the mask.
I don't understand the point to prove.
Caller,
go ahead.
I know you're a little emotional and we can hear it. You're upset. But what I'm saying to you, or what we are saying to you, because we can go back and forth about this issue for the next 5 minutes if we have to. But what I'm saying to you, there are mediums that you yourself can also utilize to get the justice that you deserve. Calling us would not give you that justice. I know that you want to inform the public and inform us that this has happened. And we are agreeing with you that discretion needs to be used. We understand that. But what I'm saying to you is that the back and forth and us explaining to you and you explaining to us is not really going to get us anywhere.
I'm not about the back and forth, but I'm just trying to point out, because even again, I could give you another situation. I could give you another situation. When we were going through the COVID issue and whatnot, and the lockdown and whatnot, I remember one time, come out in the hospital, right on Lagoon Road again. I'm just giving you instances to just show you. On Lagoon Road, there is a block. Curfew time, I think that was a shopping. Yes, it was a shopping day. My nephew is at the hospital, but me and my mom went to do some groceries in Fullland on Lagoon Road. All right? Okay, happened that they dismissed the time, get you. So I go pick up my nephew and my stepfather at the hospital.
Right.
4 of us in the transportation now. An officer pulled up. There is too many people in the vehicle. Okay, officer, I understand, and I do apologize, because sometimes we just want to justify, so I apologize, I do apologize. But this is my mother. This is my stepfather. This is my nephew. We all reside in that same house.
Right.
I don't think I need to explain anything else. And, I come out and pick up that one in the hospital, what.
Right.
He going on. You need to drop 2. And I say, so, all right, I will drop. And my stepfather will drop, because I would not drop my mother here and I wouldn't drop my nephew here. But my mother can drive, my nephew can drive. So explain that to me, because I have to drop 2. I would not drop my mother and leave my mother on the side of the road. They're going on. I went further to explain the situation with the hospital and whatnot and what happened. That officer decided he wanted to show off his glory. And I'm just talking about reasoning here.
Yes.
Oh, God, we're in the same house. So you're telling me I have to drop 2 because the law says, and it is decreed, that 1 in the front and 1 in the back. And it's 4 of us in a Honda CRV. So I have to drop 2. So you will come in my living room and tell us all of us can sit down in the living room and watch TV too. After I established, because I established we all live in the same house. You understand? And it's becoming unbearable. And that's just 2 instances in COVID. There are instances you could bring in traffic and all. Come on, man. We too much a small country for that.
Caller, we understand. We are out of time. I don't want to seem like I'm rushing you off the phone, but we are honestly out of time. But we understand your frustration. And of course, we apologize that you have to go through that or feel that kind of way. But use the mediums that are available. Speak to an officer in the traffic department. Bring your ticket in. Explain your situation to them. And see what sort of justice that you can receive, if there is any justice to be received from this situation. And we wish you all the best in that.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you. And, let's hope that things work out for him.
We are out of time, Mr. Bola. Not even out of time. We are over time. But I want to give you the opportunity to make
I just want to say thanks to everyone who have called with whatever the situation may have been. And we hope that we might have been able to be of some kind of assistance. We want to always try to please people, do what we can't, solve every problem. But as that last caller did, he expressed himself. He expressed what happened to him, which is very unfortunate. And we really do hope that more of us who have to interact with the public, have to have dealings with the public, can be discretionary in the way in which we do whatever we do. And for those of us who feel that we have been robbed of our fundamental rights, let's look for where and how we can go to get redress to the matter, and don't get emotional and probably do something that we may regret down the line. We can. All of us have feelings and we can get emotional at times, but sometimes let our intellect take charge so we can make better judgment. I really hope we are totally out of time, that you have an enjoyable day, the remainder of Thursday, and that we may be able to join each other, God's willing, tomorrow, Friday, when we'll have the final program for the week.
Absolutely. Guys, we've come to the end of our program for today. As we say here every day, in whatever you do and whatever you say, be safe, be secure, be responsible. It's been a pleasure being here with you guys. Please remember to follow the protocols. Apart from COVID-19, there's a really bad flu going around. A lot of our young people, a lot of our children in schools have had to stay home. Schools are appealing as well to parents. If your student or if your child, is exhibiting any symptoms of the flu or any flu-like symptoms, please don't send the child to school. All right? It's been a pleasure being here with you guys. Have a wonderful day and stay tuned for the national report. It's been a pleasure, guys.
COVID-19 vaccine continues to be available throughout our Tri-Island state, and it's free of cost. Protect yourself and your loved ones, and let's get back to life. Visit covid19.gov.gd for answers to your questions. Visit your nearest health center to access the vaccine. A message from the Ministry of Health.
Grenada experiencing a worrying increase in acute respiratory infections. We'll have details to this story and more in the national report. With the details to the news for Wednesday, May 12, 2021, I am Chrisanne Mitchell. Acting Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sean Charles says Grenada is experiencing a significant increase in acute respiratory infections, ARIs. The CMO made the announcement during the government's weekly post-cabinet press briefing on Tuesday, where he said the current outbreak of the flu-like illness has affected many schools and some business places. He explained that the viral infection presents with the same symptoms like COVID-19, such as fever, headaches, runny nose, sore throat, and fatigue, and can also be transmitted in the same way COVID-19 is transmitted through droplets and personal contact with the eyes, nose, and mouth. Dr. Charles, an epidemiologist by training who has been leading the ministry's technical response in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic, cautioned that the country could be heading down a very worrying path.
We are seeing absences and sick leaves as a result of this. We have noted that the number of cases of acute respiratory infection are progressively and steadily rising. We have started testing to verify whether this is as a result of COVID or not, and so far, cases tested have been negative.
Looking at the ministry's weekly epidemiology report, Dr. Charles explained that in week 16 of 2021, there were 26 acute respiratory infection cases. In week 17, there were 46 cases, and that number jumped to 133 in week 18. He said there were only 21 cases in week number 18 of 2020, and that number has more than quadrupled.
It means that we have simply let down our guard, and in the event that a single case of COVID escapes all of the measures that we are presently taking, if a single case escapes, it could be from an illegal border entry, it could be from otherwise someone who after finishing our screening procedure, they present very late, because this does occur. It means that we will face the same consequences that we see in other countries.
The government of Grenada has partnered with Osprey Lines Limited to create better conditions aboard the vessel to transport people with medical emergencies. A sick bay area has been outfitted aboard the Osprey shuttle through the collaborative effort. The initiative is geared towards improving the accommodation aboard the vessel for medical patients from Carriacou and Petit Martinique who require transfers to and from Grenada. Parliamentary Representative and Minister for Carriacou and Petit Martinique Affairs and Local Government, Honorable Kindra Maturin-Stewart, says having listened to the cries of the people for a better facility transfer medical patients to and from the islands via the Osprey shuttle, the ministry saw it fit to intervene.
In order to bring relief and to assist with the transfer of patients from Carriacou to Grenada. As you know, that has been a major problem for years, and it has been one of the issues persons in Carriacou and Petit Martinique most complained about. It was really a degrading issue, one which I consider to be very inhumane and very sad, whereby persons from Carriacou, being sick and of course at their worst state, being vulnerable, had to be placed on the ground via stretcher and other means to be transported to seek extra medical and sometimes emergency medical attention to Grenada. And so, having heard and listened to the cries of the people and having seen it myself, I've entered into deep negotiations with the owners and managers of Osprey, and they have decided to partner with the ministry, partner with us, and so we have been able to modify the back of the boat utilizing 4 seats. And that has created a sick bay, an area where passengers and patients can be properly be placed, having to seek medical attention to Grenada.
She said the government of Grenada and Osprey Lines Limited have developed a very strong working relationship over the years, and she is happy to be part of such a major initiative which contributes to the overall enhancement of the healthcare system in Carriacou and Petit Martinique. Minister Stewart also noted that the government of Grenada and Osprey Lines Limited have started the conversation surrounding the resumption of a daily service between the islands.
We're also working with them to ensure that they resume their schedule prior to COVID-19, whereby they used to travel almost every day. Not almost, but every day. As it is now, they only would travel 3 days per week. So we are also working with them to ensure that they bring back constant travel between transportation for the people of Carriacou and Petit Martinique, between Carriacou and Grenada.
Grenada's Minister for CARICOM Affairs, Honorable Oliver Joseph, says he is confident the newly appointed CARICOM Secretary General will steer the community in the direction it needs to go. Dr. Barnett, a national of Belize, was appointed following unanimous agreement by CARICOM heads who met virtually in a special session on Tuesday. Dr. Barnett, who will assume office on August 15th, the first woman and the first Belizean to be selected for the post, and will replace Ambassador Erwin Larocque, who is completing his second term. Grenada's Minister for Foreign Affairs, International Business and CARICOM Affairs, Honorable Oliver Joseph, was present at the virtual meeting and congratulated the new Secretary General.
We think, given the current situation we are in and her financial background, that she will be the best candidate to take the community further and to assist us navigating this very difficult time. She has excellent track record in financial matters, so we are confident that we are getting a Secretary General that will lead the community in the direction we want to go. The outgoing Secretary General served for 10 years, Erwin Larocque, and did an excellent job, but his term has come to an end. Also, she will be the first female Secretary General. And she did not get the job because she's female. She got the job because she is highly qualified. And so Grenada welcomes Dr. Barnett, and we look forward to working with her in a new role as Secretary General.
This is the National Report. We'll have more news after the break.
Grenada's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, through its diplomatic missions abroad, in collaboration with the Ministry of Health, present a conversation with the diaspora on COVID-19 vaccination this Sunday, May 16th, from 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 7 to 9 p.m. British Summer Time. Panelists include Dr. Roland Purcell, Dr. Molara Alexis, Attorney Jackie McKenzie, the Reverend Terence Griffith, and Dr. Leslie Ann Williams, with host Dr. Wendy Grenade. Join us as we engage with our sisters and brothers in the diaspora, hear personal testimonials on COVID-19, and share your views. Follow live on Facebook.com, on GIS and Health Grenada sites, and various local and diaspora media platforms. Visit the Ministry of Health's Facebook page for a full listing. WhatsApp your questions and comments during the program to 473-456-6613. That's 473-456-6613. Or comment live on Facebook at Health Grenada. See you this Sunday, May 16th.
Welcome back. Minister for Health and Social Security, Honorable Nicholas Steele, has used the observance of International Nurses Day on Wednesday to recognize the level of service provided by nurses as Grenada continues to fight against the deadly COVID-19 pandemic. In an address to mark the day, Minister Steele said, and I quote, "The world is seeing the value of nursing in a way perhaps that it hasn't before because of the key role nurses are playing in the COVID-19 pandemic response," unquote. The health minister says the work nurses do, oftentimes putting their lives at risk, does not go unnoticed.
I wish many continued blessing to all nurses. Thank you for your service to humanity. Your work transcends beyond patients because you also provide comfort to families of the sick. It is often said that nursing is a thankless job. However, your contribution towards the well-being of the nation can never be truly measured. Take this opportunity to encourage young persons, including young men, to see nursing as a viable and noble profession to pursue. You can be part of the solution you wish to see. Congratulations to all nurses, whether you are in active practice or retired. Happy International Nurses Day.
Acting Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sean Charles also joined in with the Minister for Health in recognizing the contribution of nurses.
The work that they have done cannot be rewarded. The time and effort and dedication, the value cannot be calculated. So on this International Nurses Day, I would like to recognize them for all that they do, because it's not just in times of disaster or in times like now when we are faced with a pandemic. Nurses every day continue to be the backbone of the health system.
3 nurses shared what influenced their decision to pursue a career in health.
I wanted to become a nurse because I love caring and helping people. And growing up from a poor, background, you look at what is happening in your community. You see, the elderly, you see children, going to the health facilities. So you look at it and it just come upon you that this is a career that you would like to choose so that you can improve the healthcare among your community and by extension your country.
I decided to become a nurse because from childhood I realized I had that desire of helping persons, and I still do have that desire to help persons.
I always have a passion for looking after people, making sure that people are well. So I started doing that with my friends in the neighborhood when I was really, really young, making all kinds of options to make them well when they have a little injury. And I just knew that in my heart that I wanted to help people.
The day was celebrated under the theme, A Voice to Lead, a Vision for Future Healthcare. That story has ended the national report for Wednesday, May 12th, 2021. Recapping the top story, Grenada experiencing a worrying increase in acute respiratory infections. On behalf of the entire news and production team here at the Government Information Service, I am Chrisanne Mitchell. Thank you for joining us.